I know what this, and you kind of touched on it when you were teaching in high school here in the state of Louisiana. I know you shared it with me. So this will lead into this next question. Um, can you share with us how you actually became introduced to the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad?
So I'm a walk back just a few steps.
Yes.
So we were at Southern University in Baton Rouge. We were working on our undergraduate degrees. I had some relative first cousins who lived with me. I had one first cousin who um, he would conversate with one of the guys who lived in the neighborhood. The guy was he was selling drugs and whatnot. And he was into all kinds of things, but he had tapes of the minister. And he was telling us, we needed to listen to the tapes. Well, my cousin would get the tapes and he would listen to them. I didn't really, listen to the tapes too much because I was into whatever, college students do. I remember buying the Final Call paper on campus, and I remember seeing a picture of Master Ferrata in the Final Call paper, but, didn't pay it no real attention. So I graduated and I'm teaching at a high school that has a lot of, I call them territorial fights. They call them gang fights. Majority black school. So I'm at the school, the students fighting, they doing all these things. So I tell the principal, give me your students, the guys who beefing, I'm gonna work with them, during my off period. So I'm teaching them during the off period. I have no knowledge of the Nation of Islam. I was using Malcolm X in my class. I'd see the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, kind of in a, snapshot in the video. He might say a word or two. And I would say, well, I wonder why he just doesn't sit down and let Malcolm do all the talking, because he's not saying too much to me. So I'm working with the students, and one of the students has an uncle who's in jail, and he sends a book back to me that I should read. So he sent me a book, Message to the Black Man, with the picture of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad on it. I saw the book. Didn't read it. He just gave it to me. I had it. I thanked him for it, but didn't read it. The principal, the following year, asked me to lead the Black History program, organize it, because the year before the speaker was on the stage. He was giving a speech. The bell sounded. The students ran out, caught the bus. The man was left on the stage. Nobody in the room. Again, the students were beefing. So by the time we got around the next year, I had kind of pretty much put that fire out. So the students told me, we don't want to have somebody who comes here and tell us we shall overcome. We tired of that stuff. We want somebody from the Nation of Islam like Malcolm. So I said, okay, well, let me do some calling and I can find out if they any Nation of Islam people. That's how I referred to it at the time. So I called Alabama. The guy said, no, there's a brother in New Orleans that you can call. So I called and I talked to Minister Harold Muhammad. He said, I will come. I said, we don't have any money. We can pay a hotel, food, and gas. He said, don't worry, I'll come. So Brother Harold decided he would come. We met him the night before. He was talking about the teachings. And I was in shock and awe. I'm like, man, I never heard this stuff before. I went and have these degrees. I don't know any of this stuff that he's talking about. And so the next day when he showed up on campus, I had the young men dressed in suits and ties, like the FOI, even though I had never seen the FOI. They surrounded the stage. They met him on campus. And when he finished laying that speech out, the brothers were in tears. I had ministers there. I had community leaders. They were in tears. And what they told me after the speech was over was that you did it. You did it now because you done brought all the communities together. And the kids now were saying they throwing the drugs down. They throwing the guns down. They're going to be one community. Well, one of the teachers in the school, white teachers, went out and reported that it was going to be violence the next day. So I'm on my way to work. I see the policeman passing me up in the same direction, but I'm like, okay, they must have an accident. So then I see the superintendent passes me up and he has an entourage of cars. They following him. I say, man, it got to be something about this Black History program problem.